Today, the deep dive continues with Classic Superstars Series 12. Welcome everyone back to the channel. Kyle here as always, and we are counting down each series of Classic Superstars. Hopefully you guys have checked out series 1 through 11. Those videos we've already done, and now we're finally up to Classic Superstars Series 12. Another heavy hitter set. One with a little bit of an Easter egg to it that I'm not sure everybody remembers or even knew about back in the day, and we will get to that later in the episode. But another really good set. This is also marked as the last set of the WrestleMania ticket promotion. We covered that in Series 9, so go back and watch that video if you're more interested in who that figure was and what goes on with that figure and what you had to do. But this was it. This was it. If you had your UPCs, your tickets from inside, you met all the rules, you sent it away, you would get that special figure in the mail. And it might have been very similar to this figure, maybe the same character, but who knows. But very cool promotion. We talked a little bit about that before. I don't think it was as successful as Jakks would have liked it or hoped it to be. But something cool, something different we had really not gotten in our figures before. So anytime you got to try something new, you got to crack a few eggs to see if you can get to that next level. So I commend the Jakks team for putting a promotion like that together. I thought that was very cool. So some of my memories of Series 12, I remember this was another one. The excitement after that Series 8 was still bubbling. The last series, Series 11, we talked about, peg warmed pretty good. This one had a few peg warmers in it, but was a very strong set that sold very well in my area. This didn't hang around for years upon years on the shelves or anything like that. There was no Nikolai Volkov hanging around and stuff. This was a very successful set, and I think probably one of the best sets they ended up doing after it was all said and done. When you add the ticket promotion in there and some of the heavy hitters we got in this, plus guys we maybe thought we'd never get a figure of, we got them in this line. So, and I'd figured I'd start it off with one of the heavy hitters in the line, and that is Hollywood Hulk Hogan. NWO edition. As you guys remember back, Series 8, we got an NWO Hulk Hogan. Well, we got another one this time with cloth goods. You can check him out at the front there. There's the Hulkster. Look at that. Comes with weight belt, the black and gray pants, white boots. A very cool Hogan. Probably my favorite Hogan NWO gear. Sorry. I like the last one we got in Series 8, but I like this one more with the addition of the cloth goods. I thought that was a really nice touch and something we really hadn't seen very often from Jakks, which we now know is somewhat of a staple in the Mattel line for the most part. We can see the side package there. Hulk Hogan, of course. You can see the top listing Series 12 on the top there. There's Hulk's glamour shot on the back, the WrestleMania ticket promotion right underneath him. And the back of the packaging, of course. There's your Series 12 lineup. All the WrestleMania ticket promotion stuff down here we went over in Series 9. Let's read the back here. Hulk Hogan, debuted 1978, 275 pounds, 6'7". Finishing move, the leg drop. Titles, WWE Champion, WCW Champion, WWE Tag Team Champion, WWE Royal Rumble winner, WWE Hall of Fame inductee. Favorite quote, "What you gonna do, brother, when Hulkamania runs wild on you?" And I don't know what anybody could do. It was a non-stop juggernaut. You could not stop, unless you were Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. But there it is, looking at the back on the prototype for Hogan. They do not show him in the shirt or with the weight belt, as you can see. So we did get some additions. Also the glasses. I forgot to mention the white glasses Hulkster came with on this one. So a very strong Hulk Hogan figure. Kind of a later day NWO figure. Very cool. This was one that flew off the shelves. This was one of the heavy hitters of the lineup. So that's where we're starting. We're starting with some heavy hitters. So very good on this Hulk Hogan. I thought this was a slam dunk figure. I really enjoyed this one. Still enjoy it to this day. I do think this is a must-have Hogan from that line. Some people might argue with me and say the traditional Series 8 Hogan, but I think this one holds up right with it with the addition of the cloth goods. So there it is. There is the Hulkster, NWO Hulkster. Let's look at our next wrestler. Well, we went from Hulk Hogan to the Brooklyn Brawler. Another 80s staple that everybody knows, especially you hardcore wrestling fans. We all know Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Brawler, and it was awesome to get a figure of him after all this time. Obviously, the Brooklyn Brawler was not a huge superstar. He flirted with a little bit outside of his jobber status, his enhancement status. Probably the most famous enhancement talent of the 80s for the most part, and early 90s. Iron Mike Sharp's up there for me, but Brooklyn Brawler had a character to him where other guys didn't have a character. So I thought it was extremely cool that they added him to the lineup. I thought that was a nice touch, a nice tip of the cap to the long time and the hardcore fans that this line was intended to. I don't believe we have gotten a Brooklyn Brawler figure since, so it's really cool to get this one. This is one that would be a nice Mattel, maybe some kind of store exclusive or something. I don't know. Figure a way to get Brooklyn Brawler in the lineup. We got the Red Rooster, put Target exclusive Brooklyn Brawler out there. Why not? Relive that magical feud. But I was very happy to get this Brooklyn Brawler. And it pegwormed a little, but not to the extent as maybe some would think. So I think there was a market for him after not having a figure for so long. And just the nichiness of the figure after all. So there it is. There's Brooklyn Brawler. Let's take a look. All white. Not the best in package. He's got a nice, like, his little top hat. And it's soft goods, that top hat, like a vinyl soft goods. But it should be a hard plastic for this one, I think. I like that they tried to do something different, but it just does not look right in the package specifically. It looks kind of funny. It's deformed in the package a little bit. I don't know how good it is outside of the package. I don't think all that great. Here's Brooklyn Brawler on the side, of course. There's his picture. Got his ripped up white shirt. It says Brooklyn on his shirt. You know, normally a lot of times you wore a Yankee shirt. Obviously, you could not do that for legal reasons. Came with his trusty barbed wire bat. As a little known fact about the Brooklyn Brawler, he really wanted to introduce barbed wire bats back in the 80s into wrestling. He really wanted to get that out there, make that his thing. But they always said no. Vince and all those guys, they said, no, we're not doing it, not doing it. And then he gave it to Mick Foley. So there you go. There's the bat story. WrestleMania ticket promotion, of course. I didn't forget to mention the soft goods shirt, which is really good. They got the 5 o'clock shadow on him. I think they did an awesome job on this Brooklyn Brawler. You see the back there. There's his picture. And you note the picture down here on the Brooklyn Brawler. There is no Brooklyn on his shirt. It's just a plain white shirt. So that Brooklyn was added after the prototype. Thought that was a really cool move as well. Let's read the back on the Brooklyn Brawler. Debuted 1986. Weight 268 pounds, 6'2". Can anybody guess his finishing moves? Back suplex, pile driver, swinging neck breaker. Okay, I don't know if I ever saw him win with any of those, but we'll play along. But like I said, the highest of highs with Hulk Hogan, the lowest of lows, I guess, with Brooklyn Brawler. But as a kid, as a hardcore collector, we want these kind of figures. So I applaud Jakks for putting the Brooklyn Brawler in the set for us. Really cool figure. I think this is a must-have. You guys got to look out for this one. I don't think it goes for a crazy amount of money or anything. So pick up the Brooklyn Brawler. Don't sleep on this one. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we got something that is severely lacking in figures these days and wrestling these days for the most part. And that's Captain Lou Albano, a manager figure. I want more manager figures in my Mattel line. Hopefully AEW gives us. They have a lot of managers in AEW. Tully, Arn, Taz. Some of the other ones. Hopefully we get some more manager figures soon. But the Classic Superstars line gave us some of those classic managers. I was from a time growing up with managers. I loved managers. They added so much to it. I think there's still a place for managers today. And the Jakks Classic Superstars line gave us some heavy hitter managers. There are a few they forgot. We'll get to that way down the line. But Captain Lou Albano, one of the most successful managers, one of the most known managers in wrestling history. Some even know him as Super Mario in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, but that's for another show. But Captain Lou, iconic. There he is in his Hawaiian shirt. There's his trusty blue chair from the garden he always took to play cards on and drink a few adult beverages after the show. Captain Lou on the side, of course, in the nice gold and black. There he is. I love the addition of the rubber bands on his face. I always thought that was crazy. But very cool. You know this is Captain Lou. You don't need to see the name. You know, hey, that's Captain Lou Albano right there. I love the beauty shot of him up top there. Very cool. I think this figure works great. This is an awesome figure. Some people have said over the years he should have been a little bit bigger, but I think the soft goods jacket makes him look bigger than he actually is. So I have no problems with this figure. I think this is perfect. The next size up would have kind of been that Bam Bam Bigelow Kamala size, and that's just too big. One gripe we always got with Jakks was the managers were always too tall, taller than their people they brought to the ring, whatever you want to call it, their wrestlers. I get it, but you'd put them behind. You could smoke and mirrors it a little bit, but just be happy we got the Captain Lou Albano figure. And this is another one Mattel should give us hopefully one of these days. Read the back here. Debuted in 1953, 350 pounds, 5'10", WWE Hall of Fame inductee, WWE manager, and World Tag Team Champion. Captain Lou was known as the manager of the Tag Team Champions back in the day, and in the old WWF, of course. So, a very cool figure. Not a ton to say about it, but if you're an old school collector, this is a must-have for you, that's for sure. So, there it is, Captain Lou. We got another Captain Lou that'll come later in the 3-pack series, but we'll get to that when we get to it. But till then, let's move on to the next one. Alright, next up, I thought we'd do these two together because, after all, they are a tag team. The Nasty Boys, Brian Knobbs, Jerry Sags. Very cool to get a tag team in the traditional singles series. As we all know, and we'll get to those videos eventually, the tag team series lineup, I'm surprised they weren't put into that lineup. They were put into the single lineup. Interesting idea. We did see this with Hawk and Animal a few times. Some of the other tag teams that had multiple figures, they had them in the tag team sets, the 3-pack sets, and the singles. Well, the Nasty Boys is one of those as well. They weren't in the traditional tag team, but we did later get a ringside exclusive 3-pack with Jimmy Hart. But this was the first incarnation of the Nasty Boys we got from Jakks Classic Superstars. We go all the way back to the Hasbro Nasty Boys, which were an awesome, maybe two of the best Hasbro figures ever. And oddly enough, the only two outside of the green cards, as those never hit my area as a kid, the Nasty Boys. I never found the Nasty Boys at the stores, the Hasbro Nasty Boys. I thought they didn't exist until I got the internet back in like 1996. That's when I found out they actually existed after all. They were nowhere to be found in my area ever. And I hit the stores all the time. Not as much as I do now, but pretty close. We went to stores, a couple times a week looking for the Nasty Boys. Never found them. I don't know if my area just never got a case of them or what. I chalked it up to being like the Greg Valentine Rhythm and Blues. I looked for that forever, never found it, and I figured the Nasty Boys were just in that same thing, that that never actually came out. But they did. So, little short story on my Nasty Boys history. But the Nasty Boys, one of the big teams of the early 90s. I love their WCW work with the Steiner brothers. Halloween Havoc match, I believe. Hard-hitting tag team, of course. Got a little bit cartoony in the WWE. Went back to WCW. Kind of popped around. Even back to the AWA way back in the day. But it was cool to get the Nasty Boys in this set. Much deserved. Very interesting of Jakks, if you note. Take a look at the picture of both these figures below here. Knobbs didn't come with the Duster jacket. Sags did. They were known for their entrance jacket, of course. Well, I always said, good for you, Jakks. Even when these came out, I said, look, I see what they're doing. You can pop the heads off, and you need to buy 2 of each one of these so you can have them in their entrance gear and in their ring gear. I thought that was the reason for this. Why not put both of them in the same gear? But this is easy to do. You buy an extra one, you can swap heads. There you go, you have it. But I always thought that was kind of a cash grab, and one, somebody like me does not mind. I don't mind things like that. Make me do a little bit of work, put a little Easter egg between them. I can get 2 sets of Nasty Boys. That's great. I know some people would say, give me this Duster and both and let me choose what I want to do. I didn't buy 4 of these figures. My funds weren't at the time where I was going to spend and get this many, but that's what I always thought they were doing there. So bravo to them, I guess, trying to beat the system on us a little bit. But let's take a look at that. We'll look at Jerry Sags first. There's Jerry. Got his Duster on, got the long sleeves. Very cool figure. Comes with the glasses, comes with the tag team title. There's his picture on the side. Look at that big gap tooth where he's missing his tooth. There's the side there. And there's the back of the package. Let me read Jerry Sags here. Let me take a look to it. He looks traditional to his prototype figure. A very good head scan on this one. This is a really cool figure. Really awesome. Debuted 1987, 259 pounds, 6'3". Finishing move, the pit stop. WWE World Tag Team Champion. And he also won a Battle Royal. So, there you go. He's a Battle Royal winner. But a cool figure, really cool figure. Glasses, like I said, the entrance jacket is really cool. Really paints, sparkle. Really a lot of detail done in that. So bravo to Jakks on that one. I think that's really cool. We did later get these as Mattel, as most people do know, I assume. Nasty Boys Brian Knob, I'll read the back of him too. He debuted in 1985, 295 pounds, 6'1". Finishing move, the power bomb in the pit stop. Titles, WWE World Tag Team Champion and Battle Royal winner. So always love a good Battle Royal win. Can't beat it. There it is. There's Brian Knobbs. Kind of looking down a little bit. Only came with the title belt and his glasses. Did not come with the duster. Side there. There's the side. Always got that kind of mean, bird-like face, I always kind of thought. But I do like this one as well. Both really cool figures. I'm a guy that really loves tag team wrestling and love the old tag teams, so these are must-haves for me, that's for sure. But there it is. I thought we'd do these two together. It just kind of fit and works. But it's the Nasty Boys, Brian Knobbs, Jerry Sags. Let's move on to the next one. Next up in Series 12, the Enforcer, Arn Anderson. One of my all-time favorite wrestlers. Even back to when I was a little kid, I absolutely loved Arn Anderson. He wasn't flashy like the Road Warriors, the Ultimate Warrior. He didn't have the big hulking body. But there was just something as a little kid I knew, whoa, I like to watch this guy wrestle. Later on you figure out, oh, you liked his work rate, how he moved in the ring and his promos and stuff like that. That's what was bringing me into Arn Anderson. I absolutely loved Arn Anderson. I love the Horsemen. I was a kid of that generation. So very cool to get an Arn Anderson figure. As I think before this, the last Arn Anderson figure we got was probably, I think we got a Toy Biz one, but I guess I was going to go all the way back to the Galoo. But I believe there was a Toy Biz, maybe a Horseman 4-pack. Maybe I'm wrong. But we didn't get a whole lot of Arn Andersons. He's not the most toyetic guy. Call it a spade to spade. He's not designed where a kid's going to say, whoa, look at that guy. They're going to say, oh, it's a guy in his trunks with a hairy chest and a bald spot. For whatever it's worth. But I love this Arn Anderson. I love Arn Anderson. This is a must-have in my line. Got the red boots, everything else. Comes with a chair, a steel chair, which he used many a times in his Horseman battles. There's the picture of Arn on the side there. Arn Anderson on the other side. I'll read the back here. Debuted in 1982, 249 pounds, 6 feet tall. Finishing move, Spine Buster and the Gourd Buster. Titles, World Tag Team Champion, NWA Tag Team Champion, NWA World Television Champion. So there it is. There's Arn Anderson. A little younger, not as, I think, yeah, there is still a bald spot. You probably can't see it too well there. But a bit younger Arn Anderson. This isn't the end of the career Arn Anderson. This is prime 80s Arn Anderson, maybe even Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson Brainbusters time frame. But a very, very cool figure. We did get a few extra Tully and Arns. We got a 2-pack and a 3-pack with Bobby Heenan that we'll get to down the line. But this wasn't our only representation of Arn Anderson in the Classic Superstars series. I do expect more Arn Anderson figures to come. We did get a Mattel one in the 4-pack of the 4 Horsemen, and then an early Legends, I think it was Matty Collector exclusive with Tully Blanchard, each single released. So we have had some representation of Arn Anderson over the years. I do expect AEW to have a manager Arn Anderson figure, just knowing Jeremy and how he'll do it. I'm pretty sure we'll see that eventually. I'm also hopeful we see maybe a classic line from AEW where we get another Arn Anderson of some sort in there. That would be awesome. But another good figure, like I said, not a flashy figure, but a must-have in the Classic Superstars series. That's AA Arn Anderson. Well, let's move on to the next one. Well, we just covered Arn Anderson, and we're kind of talking 4 Horsemen, I guess, if you mention Arn Anderson. That's one of the first things that come to your mind. Well, here's our segue into Dean Malenko, one of the later-day 4 Horsemen members, and another one I'm a huge fan of. I've said the stories before. ECW was my favorite. That's what kept me in wrestling back in the day when my fandom was waning. I got into ECW right when Dean Malenko, Benoit, Psychosis, Rey Mysterio, those guys were hitting ECW. That's when my fandom went to the next level and carried through. So Dean Malenko is one I really enjoyed watching. I don't know if he got every break he ever deserved. I would have loved to see a little bit more from him in the WWF, WWE back in the day, but it is what it is at this point. But I love Dean Malenko's work. I love his figure. I was happy to get this in the line. I feel this is a must-deserve figure in this line. Maybe some people don't believe that, but it comes with a Cruiserweight title, which we only got a couple of times, I believe. There's the picture on the side. Once again, similar to Arn Anderson, kind of a no-frills guy. I could see maybe some kids out there passing, but this line necessarily wasn't for kids, as we all know. There's the back there. Very cool, very serious look on Dean's face, as you guys can see. Debuted 1979, 212 pounds, 5'8". Finishing move, the figure 4 leg lock, brain buster, and the gut buster. Titles, WWE Light Heavyweight Champion, ECW World Tag Team Champion. Love Dean Malenko. Very good figure. I'm looking it over real quick. Don't see any inaccuracies or any real issues. I would have liked to kind of seen that blue instead of the gold trunks, but that's the biggest nitpick of all time. Very cool that we got a Dean Malenko in this line. Not a lot of Dean Malenko figures out there. For him to get one in this line, I think, says, hey, he is a classic superstar and one we don't get a ton of. So, there it is, Dean Malenko. All right, now we got a deep cut. Way classic. We're going way back old school, WWF and Northeast Wrestling and you name it, but Killer Kowalski in Series 12. Now, this was no frills. You know, saying that Arn Anderson or Dean Malenko might be a tough sell to kids, well, try selling Killer Kowalski to a 7-8-year-old kid. You know, kids my age at the time probably wouldn't have known Killer Kowalski back in the 80s. He's an old school guy, but he is known for training Triple H. He was a huge star back in the day, of course. I believe he wore a rug on his head, but Master of the Claw, that's for sure. I mean, as a kid, I rented a lot of VHS tapes of old school wrestling. Killer Kowalski was in a lot of those videotapes, so you definitely got to respect him. And the Classic Superstars, we need guys like this. Some of the guys that really built wrestling into what we know today, or we knew then. So I was happy to get this Killer Kowalski, but I was also kind of sad to see him peg-warm to some extent. They tried something new. I was trying to look this up in my research a little bit, and this is how I remember it. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain I'm right. We'll get to Jimmy Valiant, the next figure. I believe Jimmy and Killer Kowalski were in every other case. They split those two because they knew both of those guys were older guys that people maybe weren't as familiar with that could possibly peg-warm and load the shelves up. Very smart move by Jakks. Something similar we're seeing with Brandy Rhodes right now with the AEW line. Nothing against Brandy Rhodes, but traditionally, female figures do not sell as well. Look at your Target store right now. My Targets are full of Billy Kays, outside of the AJ Styles, of course. Billy Kays and some of the Nikki Bellas and stuff like that. They just don't move at the same velocity as others. And Killer Kowalski was kind of in that vein, and even being in every other case, still kind of peg-warm a little bit. It wasn't like you had to really search hard for him. But it made everything kind of right in the world. So it was a very good business strategy. I think we're going to see a lot more of that with AEW figures as well. And it's good for us because it gets us some of these guys that we probably wouldn't because of the fear of the peg-warming. So Killer Kowalski was very good. In later years, as customizing got bigger and bigger in the wrestling figure world, a lot of these Killer Kowalskis were used and the head was popped off, and they used this as Eric Bischoff customs. I've seen a lot of Killer Kowalski Eric Bischoff customs over the years, that is for sure. As we didn't get an Eric Bischoff in the Classic Superstars series. Not till the Ruthless Aggression series, stuff like that. But here it is. There's Killer Kowalski. Pretty plain Jane. Came with the old trusty ring bell, and we always joke about this ring bell. It's all decrepit and beat up. I mean, this ring bell is probably from when he first started, and he kept it with him all these years. That's probably why they reused it over and over. But black boots, black tights, black hair, pretty plain. But like I said, champion trained a lot of guys, trained a lot of good guys, and was a huge, big-time wrestler in his own right. You know, if you are lucky enough to have your grandpas and grandmas around, or maybe great-grandpas and grandpas around, some of you guys watching, they would know Killer Kowalski. You know, my grandpa, you mentioned, he doesn't like wrestling at all. He's 94 years old, right around there. He would say, yeah, I've heard of Killer Kowalski, so there you go. Read the back here, debuted 1947, 290 pounds, 6'7", finishing move, the claw hold, flying knee drop, the drop kick, titles, WWE Hall of Fame inductee. The back, he's pretty much identical to his prototype. There wasn't a whole lot of running changes on him. A very easy figure to produce, I would have to imagine. But there it is. There's Killer Kowalski. Next up is the Boogie Woogie Man. But unfortunately, this is going way back even farther. This is back when he was handsome Jimmy Valiant. So a cool figure, though. Look at that beard and the crazy blonde hair. Some good color to him with the red elbow pads. Of course, the trusty blue steel chair that all the old-timers absolutely loved. Debuted 1964, 290 pounds, 6'7". I don't remember him being that tall, but maybe. Finishing move, the elbow drop, Hall of Fame inductee, the Boogie Woogie Man. I talked about the Killer Kowalski, this being the other one. This one I always found a little harder to get than Killer Kowalski, and I think that goes to the fact that he had the crazy blonde hair, and people thought, oh, who is this guy, you know? But I like this figure. This is another deep, deep cut in the line. Memphis wrestling legend. That goes back to Jeremy Padawer growing up in the Tennessee area. Lawler and USWA and Memphis and Mid-South, all that kind of stuff. Seeing that, growing up in that, well, the Boogie Woogie Man, Handsome Jimmy, was a big deal in that area. So I could see why Jeremy would want to make a figure of him. And it's cool, because this is the only figure we've had, and probably will have. I don't foresee Mattel making one of these. I guess stranger things have happened. But I just don't see that happening for us, unfortunately. But there it is. Let's see the prototype on the back. Looks identical. Yeah. Looks pretty identical if you can see that. He did come with black glasses with the strap around it. I always thought that was kind of weird. When I had this one loose and I thought it looked kind of funny. Maybe that's just me. But there it is. There's Series 12, Jimmy Valiant. We got one left, or is it two left? I'll explain. Check it out. All right, we're leaving this line with one of the heaviest hitters of all time and probably my favorite childhood wrestler of all time, the Ultimate Warrior in Series 12. Check it out. Blue, you got the tassels, you got the title belt, you got the red, the blue, the great colors, the white. Love the Ultimate Warrior. Love this figure. A slam dunk must have. I was so excited for this one. There he is on the back. Not much changed from his prototype, except they added the tassels, which is a huge improvement. We love Warrior with the tassels. Debuted 1985, 290 pounds, 6'2". Finishing moves, the Gorilla Press, Big Splash combination. Titles, WWE Champion, Intercontinental Champion. Favorite quote, always believe. There he is. Now this was a figure. This was a hot one. This and the Hogan were definitely the hottest of the set. However, there's a little Easter egg to this one. And like I said at the top of the episode here, some of you guys probably knew this. Maybe you forgot this. Some of you guys probably definitely did not know this. Leave me in the comments. But they had a variant to this one. An unannounced variant. I remember being lucky at my Toys R Us, getting this case right out of the box, opening it up and being so confused to what I found. And that was this Ultimate Warrior. This very one. Backwards in the package, showing off that beautiful duster. Look at that. So there's a variant. There's the behind one, and then there's the forward-facing one. I am not 100% sure which one is more rare. I am fairly confident it's the back duster one, as I don't remember seeing as many of those. I think it was in every X amount of cases was the rule on that. But you had to have both of these if you're an Ultimate Warrior fan. Very cool they would do something, because this duster is awesome. The way they did this duster, look at that. Look at all the artwork on that. I thought this was extremely cool for Jakks to do. You know, show off that hard work. Those min and box collectors in this line, we didn't get to see this figure. So we wanted to see what the back was all about. And that was a way of doing it. Making a little Easter egg, making a little chase, making a little more extra excitement with this line. I thought that was an awesome touch. Outside of the packaging being a little different with Warrior reversed, no other changes to the packaging. So you had to flip through the figures to find and see if this was the one. This was going for big bucks on eBay back in the day. I have not looked in quite some time to see which one goes for more. Check it out. Leave me a comment and say which one's rare, but I'm pretty sure this one goes for more. It just makes sense because it's the variant, I guess you would say. But a strong end to this line, Classic Series 12. A big line, one of the biggest lineups they ever had, especially when you count this variant in there. This was when they were firing on all cylinders and everything was kind of going their way. The line was as popular as it was going to be. Very, very cool, this Warrior, but then everybody else, the deep cuts of the Brooklyn Brawler, the Killer Kowalski and the Jimmy Valiant, some deep cuts in this line, and then guys like Dean Malenko and Arn Anderson, the hardcore collectors have been screaming for and really wanting. And then you got the Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior to appease to everybody. And then you got the tag team of the Nasty Boys in here. A fantastic lineup. There was something for everybody in Series 12. And it being the last promotional ticket giveaway for that Hulk Hogan figure, it was just a slam dunk series all around, and probably, you know, now that I'm thinking about and talking about it, one of the best lineups Classic Superstars ever had in Series 12. But that is it. That's Classic Superstars Series 12. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. As you guys know, we're going to go through every single series of these. Don't forget to comment. Did you pick up this series? Where did you find it? Who was your peg warmer in your area? Did you get the variant Warrior? Just your all-around thoughts on Classic Superstars Series 12. So another strong one. A fun video to do. We're going to be back next time with Classic Superstars Series 13. And until then, I'm Kyle. I'll see you guys all real soon.